welcome back. Yeah. Don't have a lot of notes, but guess what I did this weekend? I did the thing. I did the trip, and I'm back. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I did it. Round of applause, please. Please clap. So yeah, like I don't have a lot of notes. There was something interesting about that, like that I was thinking about. No, I don't want to choose a Pokemon. What? I know. Leave him in. Yeah, I don't know. But like, let's just talk. Well, maybe part of it is like, whenever I interact, I don't ever have an opportunity to get my thoughts out. I mean, I've talked about this before. It's not that interesting, I guess. But like, over the weekend I did talk a little bit, so that's why I have less notes, because I got my thoughts out, and I didn't have to write them down and talk about them here. That's kind of the goal of this whole thing. Is to not need it, I guess. But yeah, let's just talk about the weekend and how it went, and that'll take up like 2 or 3 days probably. And then I have this wedding on Saturday, which is like, it's not as bad as the lake thing, because it's only one day. So like, if you could do the lake, you could do the wedding. So I got there on Friday. It's called Lake Canada in upstate New York. And it was like 5:30. So I was there from 5:30 on Friday. I stayed all Saturday and all Sunday, and I left at like 7 p.m. on Sunday. What? Boop, 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 boop. So it was me, my cousin, and her partner. And then on Saturday and Sunday, there were 2 other people. It was my cousin's partner's friend and his wife, which was an interesting like wrinkle and that I had to deal with, because I didn't know that would happen. But I did good with that, I feel like. I wasn't able to talk as much when they were there, because they just, when I'm interacting in a bigger group, I just let other people talk. But on Friday, well, let's talk about my therapy, because I did therapy last Thursday, and then I'll talk about like what in the besties group. I did a besties Zoom on Friday, and the 2 things that came out of that were, I told my therapist, like, oh, I'm nervous about this thing, and she was like, what you should do is when you get there, you should tell them, like, hey, I'm nervous to be here. So I wrote down like a little thing that I was going to say to them when I got there, like, hey, I have social anxiety and I'm kind of nervous to be here. And then I talked about it on the besties group, and they helped me. And one of the things that came out of that was like, one of the persons said, like, don't be too... So my thing that I was going to say is like, thanks for inviting me. I've been working on my social anxiety. So like, things like this are really hard for me usually, but like, I'm glad that I'm here or something. And she was like, try not to focus on the fact that like you're using this as social anxiety practice, because that would be like a weird thing for them to be like, oh, he's just like here because he's practicing. And she's like, try to focus more on that you're happy to be there with them. I was like, that's good, I like that. I'm not gonna keep fighting these guys, come on. At least it's not a Zubat. So then, I mean, that's all good. Like, I mentioned it in the Zoom on the besties thing. And that's kind of hard sometimes because I'm like, I don't want to waste their time on my thing. We spent like 30 minutes talking about my thing. And there's like 8 of them in the Zoom. So I'm like, that's not fair. Other people should talk. But that was good. And then, okay, on Friday, I was driving there, and then I was kind of like repeating the last 10 minutes. I just kind of kept repeating like what I was going to say when I got there. Which kind of seems insane when you think about it. I was saying that thing like, okay, I'm really happy to be here. I've been working on my social anxiety. I'm so glad I could see you, or something like that. And I just kept repeating that over and over again. Because, like, it was going to be hard to do. So I got there, and I felt nervous when I got there because, like, I knew I wanted to say that thing and that it would help me for the rest of the weekend. But I didn't. Like, I kind of missed the opportunity to say that, like, little script. So, like, I got there, and then they got up and they hugged me and they're like, hey, how are you? I was like, good, how are you? And then I was like, oh, I gotta bring in my suitcase. And then I put my suitcase in, and then they got up and they're like making the bed. And I remember my therapist kind of specifically saying, like, okay, the first thing they're gonna do is they're gonna give you a tour of the place. And so, like, while you're doing the tour, or like right before, you could say your thing. And so he gave me the tour, and I didn't say it yet. But then I sat down. It was a really small cabin. The cabin was super nice. I mean, maybe I'll put up a picture or something. I shared it on the Besties group, but, like, I don't know. Join the Besties group, and you'll see more of me. It was a really nice lake. It was, like, insane. Like, I was sitting there looking at there's like the green Adirondack, like pine trees or whatever, and then there's the lake is blue, and it's just like, whoa, those colors, it's crazy. I don't know, it's just so stupid. It's like, yeah, duh, no duh, nature's cool, we all know that. But there is kind of like a stress to be in nature now, because it's like 30 years from now, is it gonna be all gone? Is it gonna be on fire? See, I already spent 10 minutes. Choo-choo. I think I want to use Lou. I choose Lou as a Wartortle. Maybe not. Maybe that was wrong. Maybe I should have done Pidgey. I forget. Whatever. Oh. Lake was cool, and so I didn't say anything, but I sat down, and my cousin was sitting down, and we kind of just immediately talked about therapy. I don't know how it came up. We got there pretty quick. So we sat down, and she was like, how's your job? And I was like, oh, I really like it. Like, I did my spiel that I mentioned last week. Like, oh, I didn't like my last job and all that stuff. And then I asked her about her job, and she started talking about like her job, and through that she kind of talked about. Okay, yeah, I don't want to say anything specific. It's interesting. I think I had a note about this, but like I've never been in a position where I had an opportunity to like share personal details of other people. So I have to not do that, right? I share myself, but I'm not allowed to share other people's stuff. I always kind of have to reflect it back on like my experience, because it's not fair to talk about what she said. But we got pretty quickly into the topic of therapy through talking about job stuff. And I didn't specifically say my spiel, my script about like, I have social anxiety and I'm glad I'm. But we did get to. I mentioned I was in therapy. I mentioned like it's kind of like I have some social anxiety problems. I kind of talked a little bit about that. I didn't say specifically like I have social anxiety and I never had any friends and stuff, but I did say the word social anxiety and me in like the same sentence, and that felt good. And like I didn't cry, which I think I was worried about, like just being like I started tearing up at the end when I was leaving, but not at the beginning when I got there, really. I cried for like normal reasons, like, oh, I'm kind of like sad or whatever. I didn't cry because of anxiety, which is good. Like trying to share myself and like not doing it right or not doing it in the way I want to. That's usually why I would cry, I think. I didn't do that. Boom, 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 bidoo, boop, boop, bidoo, bidoo, boop. Okay, I am recording, right? Yep, that means I'm recording. Okay, I'll see you tomorrow. I have a lot to say about this trip, and hopefully today was interesting. Maybe not. Hopefully you got something out of it, if you're watching, if anybody's watching. I'll talk more about it tomorrow. A lot of different aspects of it, but like the main aspect I wanted to mention is like I was able to share some personal stuff, and that felt right, and that helped me throughout the rest of the week to be a little bit more comfortable. I wasn't really anxious on the trip. There were times when I was like quiet and I was like a little bit uncomfortable. Like I should be talking more, and like I want to talk more. I don't know what to say right now. But I didn't not talk because I was too anxious. And I think kind of having that initial conversation helped, of like, I'm anxious. Even though, I didn't connect it. What the therapist wanted me to do is to connect the social anxiety with the trip, because she's like, that'll help you. If you're just like, hey, I'm anxious to be here, that'll help you be less anxious to be there. I didn't really do that. I was just like, I'm kind of generally anxious in social situations. And like, this is a social situation. But I didn't say like I'm anxious to be there exactly. So maybe that would help to more, but maybe it would have made it more awkward to be like, put more pressure on them. Like, I'm anxious to be here. Like, you gotta help me be less anxious. And they're like, what? I don't know. That's something I could talk about. Okay, tomorrow. Bye.